Welcome and/or welcome back to the channel. My name is Sarah, and today we're here for another chatty little Friday reads. I was a liar, McLiar pants the week before last when I said I'd see you next week. I forgot that the following week was a holiday. I try to take those off of like social media stuff because I've got a family and I like to prioritize that. So no Friday reads last week. So now we've got another 2-weeker coming at you. So let me get my books out of this basket. All right, so at the top of the list that's in my journal, so these are kind of in order for when I finish them. What was, oh, cross-stitch fabric, is Rabid by Bill Wasick and Monica Murphy. I did finish this. I listened to this on audio. I didn't love it. I'm gonna be real with you. Another miss for the Morbidly Curious book club as far as like, am I keeping this? Do I think I learned a lot from it? Answer's gonna be no on that one. It was okay. I don't know that I really took that much away from it. A lot of it felt like conjecture, like we were thinking like, they explored the cultural ramifications of rabies, right? Like how it has possibly impacted things like the werewolf myth, the vampire myth, things like that. How for the longest time it didn't have a cure, how we have a possible treatment for when it's past vaccine level. There was a fascinating case study about a small island, and I already forgotten the name of it. It's a touristy sort of place that was rabies free for a long, long time, and they dealt with an outbreak that was intense. That was interesting, but like it was fine. This one's probably going to go to the used bookstore for me. I don't know if perhaps it was the style or how I consumed it, but just not a hit. This reminded me, but as like a poor man's version of the cannibalism book that I read several years ago by, I think maybe Bill Schutz. I'll put the cover here. I absolutely loved that book. Still one of my favorite nonfiction books. I think I should reread that. That's probably due for a reread. I found that book absolutely fascinating. This just didn't have it. So that's going to the used bookstore. So it was fine. I would recommend it maybe if like you're just learning about rabies and infectious diseases, or if it's like a pet project, like you really like reading about that sort of thing, then you might really enjoy it. But for me, it was, it's fine. The next thing I read was 9 Goblins by T. Kingfisher. Surprising absolutely no one here. I loved this. I just like T. Kingfisher. We've talked about this numerous times. This is a tale of low fantasy and high mischief. This is one of her books that feels like it's a slice out of a D&D campaign almost. We have 9 goblins are separated from their squadron in this like goblin versus human and elf war. And they end up in this mysterious forest. Now, on the other side, we have this elf called Sings to Trees, and he is just this exasperated, wore-out veterinarian who takes care of these magical creatures for no other reason than he wants to. And he is just my favorite type of character. I absolutely loved Sings to Trees. And they end up meeting, and they end up having to figure out why the village that is near Sings to Trees is suddenly nothing is there. No one is there. It's very short. I read it in like 2 sittings, and it's fantastic. It's very whimsical. It's funny, but it also has some really dark parts. And in the acknowledgments, T. Kingfisher writes that this was one of her first adult books she wrote. And she wrote this because she had been writing middle grade fiction for a really long time. But in middle grade fiction, they don't want you to write about a town full of bodies that are just laying in the street and smelling bad, or a rotted cow's corpse. And it's frowned upon, right? It's frowned upon. So she wanted to find a way to write about that sort of thing in her stories. You know, she had these ideas for these adventures, but she couldn't quite pull them off. And she started independently publishing her adult stories, and this was one of them. And it was great. I love the whimsy and the fantasy and everything to these. I know they don't work for everybody, but for me, this is like a slice of pie, right? Like this is my kind of happy thing. If I'm going to read something to make me happy, it's going to be a Kingfisher, because there's always that note of darkness in it, like gritty, bloody darkness that just works well for me. I don't know how else to explain that. Then I read Hot Chocolate on Thursdays by Michiko Oyama, translated by E. Madison Shimoda. Now, I should have opened all of this with saying I'm attempting to take part in the magical readathon that's going on this month, hosted by G over at the Book Roast. And one of the prompts that I have to fulfill for one of the two callings that I'm kind of working on is a day of the week in the title. And I had nothing that I could find that had a day in the week in the title. So I picked this up because I am trying to read more Japanese fiction. I'm sorry, I think I shook you. I am trying to read more Japanese fiction, and usually the lit fic variety doesn't quite work well for me, but this one was great. I actually really loved this. I thought this was wholesome and had just enough story to like illustrate itself well, and there wasn't a disconnect. The difference between this and the Vanishing Cherry Blossom Cafe for me, I think, was that there was an extra layer to the Vanishing Cherry Blossom Cafe that made it a little more removed. Almost like I had to jump through these hoops to believe the story and then to see the morals. I don't know how to explain it. That doesn't make sense. I don't know, but this one worked great. Even though it's a very similar premise. And this is about, I think it was called the Marble Cafe? Yes, the Marble Cafe. There's a marble cafe at the end of a street, and it's about the different people who go into the cafe, and then as they leave the cafe, we start to meet more and more people, and then how all these people's lives intersect, and then they come in a full circle back to the cafe. Great little story, very wholesome. It's very, like, introspective, and it, like, looks at people's lives and their connections with other people, like a lot of Japanese fiction does, and I really liked this. I liked the style. There's another one coming out in this series. I think it's like Matcha on Mondays or something. I fully intend to read that one as well. I think I pre-ordered it because I really liked it. Now I must take a pause for a drink of coffee because I tend to forget this and it gets cold. And I didn't sleep well last night, so I need the coffee. Let me check because I know I'm missing 2 books on E. Yes. I also picked up technically it's a reread, so I counted it for my reread prompt, Dragon Ball Volume 6. This is the one, I think the like actual title to this volume is Bulma Returns, which means I liked it more than Volume 5. I didn't like Volume 5 as much because we still had Goku fighting the Red Army. In this one, he ends up back with Bulma, and I think Krillin shows up briefly, and we also get Lunch and Master Roshi. Is her name Lunch? The one that sneezes and changes personalities. I can never remember. It's some sort of foodie thing. I want to say it's Punch, but that's the monkey. No. Anyway, all of those fun people, we get them back, and I really like that cast. I don't know. I love this series. It's definitely not gonna be for everyone. If you have a very modern sensibility, you're not gonna like it, but it's like nostalgic potty humor for like 13-year-old boys, and that's my kind of humor. I don't know what to tell you. But as always, I love Dragon Ball. Then I read Witch Queen Rising by Savannah Stevenson. I was really excited about this. I've actually had this arc for a while, and I'm technically on a blog tour for it, so I've got like things scheduled to go up mid-April. But this one, a lot about this one worked really well, but a lot of it didn't work well. So the basic premise of this is very similar to a lot of urban fantasy books that I have read in the past. We have our main character who is on the run from her family, and she abruptly becomes bequeathed with all this power. Like, this power comes flooding into her, and she realizes, oh no, her mother has passed, and she's been selected as the new, like, ruler of Witchkin, the witch people of, I believe it was New Orleans, somewhere like in there. See, I've already forgotten a lot of this. And so she has to return home to take up her position. Now, she left home under extremely traumatic circumstances. In addition to that, her type of power is such that everyone around her is afraid of her or just straight up hates her, except for like the 1 or 2 new people or like her ex-boyfriend. It was okay. She gets there, she finds out something's wrong with the magic source of the witch canon. She has to figure out what it is and why. So like, cool, interesting premise, but for some reason the connection for me wasn't there. It just didn't work for me. There was nothing wrong with the book. It may have just been me at the time of reading it. I think I could have gotten over that and I could have really enjoyed it, but the use of 2 things didn't like me. I didn't like. And midway through, the murder of small children is used as a plot device to sort of establish how cutthroat she's going to be in her reign and to like put her foot down. I didn't enjoy that. I mean, I could have looked past it, But in conjunction to that, we then get her traumatic backstory reveal, which I'm going to go ahead and spoil. So if you don't want to know, skip forward a little bit till like I put my hand down. But her traumatic backstory reveal is that she was pregnant with her boyfriend's baby, a werewolf, which is like frowned upon. Witches and werewolves don't make babies. And her mother and her grandmother forcibly aborted the baby from her body. They carved her open in the study of their house and took the baby out. That's horrendous, okay? No, thank you. I'm gonna put my hand down now. That's just something I feel like you should tell readers. So that's one of those things where like people say what they feel, what they want to feel about trigger warnings, right? But that's one of those things where if I read something like that and I am not in a good place, I won't sleep for a day or two. I will be upset. I'll be crying. Like, I genuinely have a bad reaction to that sort of thing because it throws me back, right? So thankfully I was in a good mood. I was able to be like, okay, look past it. But I don't think that was, I think that should have been forewarned. So it kind of ruined the rest of the book, needless to say. So it was okay. It was okay. The cast is wonderful. I liked the description of food. I did feel the description of people was just a little bit overwrought. It reminded me a little bit of Laurel K. Hamilton and how when she would overly describe a male character, you were like, she's going to sleep with that one. Like, that's kind of what it felt like. Because you could always see them coming. You would meet a new character in a Laurel K. Hamilton book and you're like, Anita's going to get down with them. So it felt like that. Like, but she wasn't getting down with them. They were just overly described. There's that too. That was one small quibble. But that was the only e-arc I think that I read the past 2 weeks. Let me double check. I'm in the April section of my journal. And I might have finished something in March and not talked about it. No. We're caught up. The rest of what I read was 2 audiobooks. Yes, 2 audiobooks because I got real lucky and they both came in on my library holds. And so this is me catching up on a series that I really like. And it's a romance series. So it's been a while since I've read any romance. So I caught up on the Dream Harbor series. I listened to the Strawberry Patch Pancake House and the Gingerbread Bakery. And I actually read them out of order. So the Gingerbread Bakery was the first one I read. It's technically book 5. And this one is about Mac and Annie. And that's like the contemptuous? Is that the word I want? Yeah. The 2 people that don't get along in town, they're always picking at each other. Like, these 2 have history. In this, we see the history. It's a second chance romance. It was lovely. I don't know that there was anything, like, hugely wrong with it. I gave this, like, a nice 4 because I had a good time. I enjoyed myself. It wasn't mind-blowing, and I was excited to get back to it every time I read it. So it was good. The audio narrators on this were a little weird. The guy who narrated Mac sounded like he was 50 and used to be a smoker. So, not quite what I pictured for him. But, this one was much worse as far as audio. The Strawberry Patch Pancake House this is a nanny and dad trope with and I am going to put it in here because I know at least 2 to 3 people who do not like this trope. There is a surprise pregnancy in this. It's not handled terribly. It's very kind of light and nobody is upset about it. Everybody's excited about it. It's just the character has to deal with the idea. But there's a surprise pregnancy at the end. And this is about Archer and Iris. And Iris is like the fun, sort of bounces around, does whatever she wants to do kind of girl in town. She doesn't really hold down a job for very long. She doesn't keep a boyfriend for very long. She's just kind of enjoying life. And then Archer comes to town to take custody of his daughter, who he didn't know he had until recently when her mother was killed in an accident. And he just finds out he's a dad and he comes to take Olive, or to take custody of Olive. And his great plan is to come to town, take Olive for 6 months, prove he can take care of her, and then go back to France because he is a world-renowned chef. Of course, that doesn't happen. So he takes a job at the diner and he's trying to revamp it. This was lovely. I love a romance with a child in it. I love kids. It's just so cute. I love anything with a child in it. I think it's usually done really well. She did a good job with this one. I liked it a lot. I couldn't stand Archer at first, but he definitely comes around and you can see that development. So it was really nice to see on page. My big complaint on that one is, again, that the audio narrator is just single narration for that one. And she sounds like she's 50 or 60 years old. So that was weird. I just kept telling myself, it's somebody from the book club telling me this story. That's what it is. That held up really well until I got to like the sex scenes, and I was like, skip forward, skip forward. No thanks. Don't want to hear that, especially from a little old lady. So that's it. Kind of average couple of weeks. This week marks tomorrow. We will be tomorrow, as in the day you watch this. It's on Friday. On Friday, we're finally going to be finishing up with everything that was put upon us at the end of the year last year. Thank goodness. So we'll have a lot more free time, a lot more time to relax, and I'm looking forward to it. Now, as to what I'm reading right now, like I said, I am doing Magical Readathon. My primary calling is Wild Form Druid, and so I have quite a list of things to read, but I also have Mage Thread as a secondary just because I want to. And because right now my hyperfixation craft, the reason that I have been doing so many audiobooks is because I'm cross-stitching again. So right now, you can't see this, but it is, my mom got me a set of Lord of the Rings bookmarks to do last year. Hold on, I'm trying to see. I finished one, and I just hadn't picked them up. Let me fish out the other one. So this is just a kit she picked up, right? So this is, Hobbit House. I quite like this. It's so fun. It's a bookmark. I really messed up the edging. I didn't cut it right, but that's okay. It's very cute. And this is, like I said, I finished the Hobbit House. I think because I don't have the picture of what these are supposed to look like, I'm pretty sure that's Gandalf in the yellow down there. That didn't help. That's Gandalf down there in the yellow, and he's walking past a tree. I don't know, but I'm having fun. I have been cross-stitching and listening to a book while my husband plays Crimson Desert in the evenings after our kiddo has gone to bed. I am currently listening to 2 books. One came in on audio yesterday from the library, so I'm prioritizing it right now. I left it on the shelf, but I'm listening to Paladin's Grace by T. Kingfisher because I just keep putting that series off. I know I just talked about how much I love T. Kingfisher, and that's kind of like her staple series, but I haven't read it. So I'm listening to Paladin's Grace. It's fantastic. I have started that book several times and just never finished it because I get distracted. I shan't be distracted now. The other book that I am listening to, and my bookmark is wrong in it, is Grave Empire by Richard Swan. This has me doing that thing. If you're on like TikTok or Instagram, you've probably seen reels of girls listening to audiobooks and like making faces. I'm genuinely doing that. I'm like stitching, and it described this guy getting squished by a cannon, and I was just like, oh. Talking about how his skin didn't split, but his insides were liquefied, and I was like, oh, I love it, and I hate it. So that's going great. That is 2 perspectives. A young man being sent to this remote station on the border of this empire's control, and there is something in the woods there, something in that land that is hunting them, and it's like screaming in the night, and it's slowly picking off his forces and stuff, and it's really super creepy. And then the other perspective is a young lady who is trained to be an ambassador to these merfolk who live under the water near this nexus of magic. They've never actually had any contact with these people besides trading pearls for things, like very loose contact, and she's never actually had to do anything, but now she's suddenly being thrust into like this ongoing thing because the side of the veil where the dead live, where the dead are, has suddenly gone silent. And everybody's trying to figure out why, and it's all connected, and it's so good. It's very juicy, very gritty, dark, epic fantasy. I'm very, very much enjoying it. I am also reading on ebook right now For We Are Many. This is the second Bobverse book. I love the Bobverse book. Books. I'm enjoying these greatly. I like the sprayed edges. I'm gonna see if it'll get a focus. It's some version of Bob, just written in shapes. And this one picks up where the second one left off. Bob and his replicas? Sure. Have helped humanity start to move off of Earth, what's left of them. And the rest of the replicas are out exploring. And we have gotten first contact in one location, and we have found traces of aliens in other universes, and it's not looking great for us. So that's fun. I'm very excited about finishing that. It's hit like the 30% mark where things are kind of kicking off, and I'm really liking it. Plus, we're also dealing with like terrorists within what's left of humanity being like, we've already messed it up, we're just gonna kill off everyone and ourselves and let the universe rebuild, and everybody's like, no. And it's so good. If you like science fiction and like mineral resource gathering with like lots of different viewpoints, I don't know, I really like the Bob Verse books. I recommend them. And the final thing that I am reading, another Japanese fiction. This is a like spooky paranormal one, and it's called Strange Buildings by Uketsu. I think this is not a sequel, but a second book in a themed series by this author. I think the first one was called Weird Houses or something like that. Strange Houses and Strange Pictures. And this is Strange Buildings. And I can tell you right now, I'm about 45% of the way through based on my spreadsheet. I will be picking up those other two books. I surely will. Yes, I will. This is freaking creepy. This is kind of like where did it go? I can't remember. I read it not too long ago. About a Place in the Kinku region. It's kind of like that, but it's a little more wide ranging, and it just connects all these houses, and I'm starting to see the connections, and it's really wigging me out. I was reading this outside of my daughter's art class this morning. We homeschool, and so I get to read very infrequently, but when she's in classes like this, I was waiting for her outside of class, and I was reading this, and I was just going, at the page, and I know the other moms were looking at me. I could feel them. It's fine. I don't care that much, but it was just, I like books that make me make faces, evidently. So that is it for Friday Reads. Let me know what y'all are reading. I have quite a bit of stitching that I want to do, so I expect I'll be reading a lot more audiobooks the next few weeks, fingers crossed. I'm also working on like a little beaded pot plant thing. If I remember, I'll insert a picture here, or I'll show you next week or something. And that also is like a lot of finger busy work, and I can listen to audiobooks. But that is it. Let me know what y'all are reading. Are you doing the magical readathon? Because I'm definitely trying. I have done this once before, and I did finish out that semester. It was an autumn semester, but I cannot find the reading journal that I used to track everything. I'm pretty sure I put it in storage, so I don't remember my character information. So I just started a fresh character. I just started new. I just started fresh. And I was like, this is fine. I don't remember what I was or who I was. So I just started new, and I made some fun spreads in my journal to keep track of things. And yeah, I'm having fun with it. It's delightful. Order of the Crescent, Wild Form Druid, with maybe a minor. I'm also doing Thread Mage just for the hell of it. I would like to do it in the autumn too. We'll see how I'm feeling. But that's it. That's it for today's Friday Reads. Let me know what y'all think, what you're reading, comments, anything like that. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, y'all. Bye.